everyone. Hope you enjoyed my presentation and are ready to fill out the notes on your desk. And to whoever's near the computer to pause for everyone when this symbol flashes at the top left corner, for notes reasons. Now, let's dive into Quebec wanting to secede from Canada. We're going to use all this stuff for trade. The French first colonized Canada in the early 1600s, hoping to use it to draw in settlers for trade. This was the French's first colonization. Hey, sign your allegiance to the British Empire here. No? So, as you can see, the English did not want the Acadians in Canada. That's how the transition from French culture to English culture began.
Much later.
So around 100 years later, in 1867, Quebec was forced to join Canada's English-speaking provinces. They, of course, were not happy about this, though it wasn't until another 100 years later that they actually did something about it. So to recap, so far the French have colonized and settled into Canada. Then about 100 years later, the French in eastern Canada were forced out by Englishmen, who wanted them to swear loyalty to the British Empire. They didn't. Then, nearly another 100 years later, Quebec was forced to switch from a French-speaking province to an English-speaking one. Anyways, let's continue, shall we? We haven't even gotten to the good part yet.
Des Anglais stupides.
In the 1960s, the fear of losing their culture began to rise in Quebec. This led to the formation of the Quebec Independence Movement, a group of people who wanted to separate from the rest of Canada. These people were known as separatists. Anyways, in 1968, a powerful separatist party was established called the Parti Québécois. These people wanted to keep their culture and maintain their French language, and as a result, they wanted a devolution and to not be fully converted to an English-speaking province. Jump forward a few years to 1980, and a Quebec referendum takes place. On May 20th, this referendum takes place. When the results were released, the vote showed that 59.56% of people voted to stay as a part of Canada, while 40.44% of people voted to secede. Quite a close one. 15 years later, a second referendum is held, and by only mere thousands they vote to stay as a part of Canada. Only 50.58% of people voted to stay. Such a close one. Like, wow. Alrighty, let's see here. So, let's go over what we've learned, shall we? The people of Quebec began to fear losing their culture, and this fear is what formed the Quebec Independence Movement. These people were known as separatists. They later formed a powerful party called the Parti Québécois. These people wanted to keep their French language and culture alive, and later a Quebec referendum was held. Staying a part of Canada was the result. 15 years later, another referendum was held, and they just barely voted to stay a part of Canada. Whoa, that's crazy. And that's it. Thanks for watching my presentation, and I hope it was informative. Bye. Except not, because I'm sitting in your class.